Welcome to ProTipsForYou.com. I'm Jason White. I played at the University of Oklahoma from 1999 to 2004. I also played a brief time with the Tennessee Titans in 2005. My pro tip for you today is the 5-step drop. A 5-step drop is extremely important for any quarterback. Just about everybody runs the 5-step drop, whether underneath you're under center or if you're in the shotgun. So it's very good to have the 5-step drop. You'll see a lot of 5-step drops in the NFL. You see a lot of 5-step drops in college. Even now you see a lot of 5-step drops in high school. So very important to get the 5-step drop down. 5-step drop is a lot like the 3-step drop, but it's 2 more steps. So instead of now, during the 3-step drop, the first 2 steps were your deep steps. Well, in a 5-step drop, the first 3 steps are your deep steps and the last 2 steps are kind of your gather steps. So everything applies the same from the 3-step drop. You want to keep your forehead frontal. It is more important for you to keep your forehead frontal in a 5-step drop than it is a 3-step drop. A 5-step drop, you're going to have down the field routes. You're taking a deeper drop, you're taking more time, so that's allowing your receivers to get down the field. You know, a 5-step drop, you can see the post, you can see the dig, you can see the deep curl, you can see the deep out. So there's a lot of different routes that are ran off the 5-step drop, but they take more time. So just like earlier in the tips, we talked about, you know, staying in the rhythm. You know, one of the things, you know, with a 5-step drop, a lot of times you're going to take a 5-step drop, hitch, and throw. That's in a rhythm. When I talk about a hitch, what a hitch is you take a 5-step drop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your 5-step drop. Well, then you're going to hitch. You're going to step up to throw. So that's a 5-step hitch and throw. Sometimes, in some cases, you know, you have to be, you know, fluid. You know, playing football, you might just take a 5-step and throw. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, throw. So sometimes that's going to happen too, but mostly all the time you're going to take a hitch. What a hitch does, it allows that receiver to take his last few steps to get open. So, you know, it might be a case that you take your 5-step drop and you see that receiver is, you know, blown by his guy and you want to get the ball to him sooner than, you know, taking that hitch. So you just plant that back foot and you throw. So we're going to talk the 5-step drop. We're going to get the same stance. Like I said earlier, I always like the staggered stance because I get more depth from underneath center. So I got my staggered stance. The first 3 steps are going to be deeper steps. So the first step, deep. Second step, deep. Now keep in mind, we got to keep our forehead frontal in this drop because it's more down the field routes. And we have an option. A lot of times in a 5-step drop, you might have your receivers, your reads might be 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to scan the whole field in the deeper drop. So we're on our second step. We've taken 1, 2 big steps. The third step's another big step, and then you're going to take 2 smaller steps. So those are going to be your gather steps. But this whole time we're going to keep our forehead frontal to keep our shoulder open. If we keep our shoulder open, we can throw anywhere on the field. If we close our shoulder, all we can throw is to the right side. So we don't want to do that. If you try to throw to the left side like this, it's never going to happen, or it's going to be a bad throw. And if you want to try to get back over to this side, you have to move your feet, and that takes time. That gives the defense time to react on the receivers. So then you throw a pick, and you don't want that to happen. So we're going to start. We got our receiver here. He's going to run the back end of a dig route. And what I'm going to do is we're going to have a post route over here, a deep post, and then we're going to be reading the safeties, and that safety is going to drop on that post, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to hit this dig route. Now, if I don't keep my shoulder open, I can't throw this dig route. And if I do, it's going to be late. So I'm going to keep my forehead frontal, which keeps my shoulder open, and I'm going to come back and throw the dig. Now keep in mind, we got to get a deeper drop in a 5-step. So we want to take the first 3 steps are big, deep steps, but you don't want to take such a deep step that it makes you uncomfortable. You want to take as deep as you can without jumping or hopping. You want to take a nice fluid deep step. So my first step is here. Okay, Well, if you try to hop back because you want to try to get as much depth as you can, if you try to hop, well then you're just out of rhythm. And like I said earlier, you got to stay in rhythm as a quarterback, just like warming up. You got to stay in that rhythm. If you stay in that rhythm, you're going to have good throws and you're going to be on time. So we're going to go through this. We got that post route. We got that safety dropping on that post. I'm going to come back and hit this dig route, and I'm going to take a 5-step drop, keeping my shoulder open and the forehead frontal. There you go. Oops. See, there I took a 5-step drop, I hitched, and I threw. Although it wasn't a great throw, I can work on that. So let's try that again. Now notice the first 3 steps are bigger steps, and the last 2 are kind of gather steps, and then I'm going to hitch and throw. But I'm reading that post route, and I'm looking at the safety. If he drops on that post, I'm going to come back to my dig. Well, in order to do that, I have to have that hitch route. There's no way my receiver can get across the field in time if I just take a 5-step drop. So I have to take that hitch route. Now, if I was throwing to that post route on this 5-step drop, it's possible that I would take 5 steps and just throw it instead of hitching, because that receiver might outrun what I can throw. So I might just take 5 steps. And that goes to another point of knowing your receivers. If I have a super fast guy over here, I know I have to take 5 steps and throw. If I have a slower guy over here, I might be able to take 5 steps, hitch and throw. But right now we're gonna notice that the safety's dropping on the post route. We're gonna come back and hit this dig route. Watch the 5-step drop. The shoulder stays open. I'm going to read this post route, and then I'm going to come back to the dig route. There you go. So that's the 5-step drop. And I'm Jason White, and that's my pro tip for you.